Hello and welcome to the AWS Cloud Operations Show. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andres Silva, and today we are going to be diving into something that's going to make your operations life so much easier. You may actually have time to finish that coffee while it's still hot, right? Speaking of which, and I think I have my coffee here, so I can hang on for the show. Today we're talking about AI-powered AWS operations with MCP servers, and Kishore is here.
Hey Andres, yeah, if MCP can help me finish my coffee while it's hot, I'm already sold. Yeah. Hello everyone, thanks for joining. It is Kishore Winjam. I'm a principal solution architect at AWS. So in my current role, I focus on AWS partner side of the world for cloud operations in particular. I'm with AWS for a little over 7 years, and most of the time spent around helping customers and AWS partners at various aspects of their cloud operations journey. And I'm happy to join you, Andres, to share my experience with Model Context Protocol, popularly known as MCP, and see how it is revolutionizing the way we are performing the cloud operations today. And I'm personally excited about our topic today, as I started my career as a system administrator a while ago, and I still avoid certain ringtones that reminds me those midnight calls, right?
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I've been there myself. And I think a lot of us and a lot of people that watch the show have been there. It's 2 a.m.s, alerts are firing. You're trying to correlate data across 17 different AWS services, and your brain is running on fumes at that time of the morning, right? Or whatever energy drink
Yeah,
you prefer, right?
exactly. Exactly. And that's where MCP comes in, right? So think of it as giving your AI assistant a direct hotline to your AWS operational data. You could no more say like, yeah, I wish I could just ask my AI to check CloudWatch metrics, traces, and Cost Explorer as well at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And today, by the way, we are going to go completely demo heavy. No slides.
Right.
We're just going to go to real scenarios on the show, and we have a few good demos that Kishore is going to be driving, and there's one that I'll be doing too. We're going to be doing debugging of microservices. We're going to be debugging some other payment failures, and even covering multi-account and how you can do all that stuff with MCP servers.
Excellent. And also, by the way, stick around because we are saving some time for your questions at the end, but that doesn't necessarily mean like you have to wait to ask. You let the
Yeah.
questions coming, and also trust me. After you see this, what we are showing, like yeah, you are going to have a bunch of questions.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right, Kishore. Thanks for mentioning that. If you do have questions, just put them on the comments there, and then we'll be happy to talk about that. So let's start with the basics as we enter this journey of MCP servers. Kishore, can you share what exactly are MCP servers and why should operations people that are watching us care about it?
Great question, Andres. So MCP, the Model Context Protocol, is essentially a standardized way for AI applications to connect to the external data sources and tools, right? So think of it like APIs, but specifically designed for AI interactions.
All right. Okay, but now in plain English, Kishore, please, because I haven't finished my coffee yet.
All right, all right. So fair enough. So imagine your AI assistant is like a really smart engineer, but they are stuck in a situation with no phone or access to anything, right? So
Mhm.
MCP servers are like giving them a direct line to every system they need to get going with what they're doing.
So instead of me having to go check CloudWatch, then Coast Explorer, maybe some logs, application signals, some traces, and then try to figure it out all in my head and explain it, all that context, I give it to my AI, and the AI makes it simple for me. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Yeah. So the AI can directly query CloudWatch metrics, pull cost data, analyze logs, and even look at your architecture diagrams, right? So all could be in one conversation. And it's like having an engineer who never sleeps, never gets tired, and has a perfect memory.
And probably doesn't eat all the snacks in the break room too, right? So where can we actually use these MCP servers?
Oh yeah. So the possibilities are endless here, right? So
Mhm.
we are seeing them, especially when it comes to cloud ops, we are seeing them used in case of incident response, where imagine an AI that can immediately correlate alerts with historical patterns.
Mhm.
And from a cost optimization perspective, which can spot spending anomalies and suggest right sizing, right? So identify those one resource which is spent for no reason, which is spinned up with huge resources, right? And then analyzing the trends and predicting future needs from a capacity planning perspective, and also automatically enriching the tickets. Most importantly, with the relevant context that is required when you are opening a ticket or when you are collaborating on a ticket with the peers.
Cool. And that's amazing, right? And I'm so glad that you explained that. But what MCP servers are available right now? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So we have quite a collection growing, right? So there is a CloudWatch MCP for metrics and logs. There is application signals MCP for observability, Cost Explorer MCP for financial data, and even an AWS architecture diagram MCP that can understand our infrastructure visually, right?
Mm.
And I recommend searching out for AWS Labs MCP, where we have and you could search for it online, and where we have the official list of AWS
By
MCP
the way,
servers.
I just put it on screen so our viewers can see it. This is the
Awesome.
repo you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I checked last time, there were close to 55 of them available for you, and it may have changed now, right? And by the way, this is not just for AWS, right? So there are several providers who are generating these MCPs. As an example, Anthropic got quite a bit of MCPs that they make available, and other partners as well do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I pasted the link there if our viewers want to check it out. But yeah, I recommend that page to get started.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
So, Andres, let
yeah.
me ask you one question.
Hmm.
So, I know you have been playing with MCPs quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what is your favorite MCP server so far?
Ah, man, it's a hard question because I keep learning about new ones all the time. But one of the coolest ones that I've used is the Diagram MCP server. Recently, I was working on a project where I had to, as part of some documentation, I had to create a diagram of how CloudWatch investigation works. And for those of you who know what CloudWatch investigations is, it has different components. You know, you have start investigations, you can connect it with chat and all that. And I said, I wonder if this diagram thing can help. And I just went in, asked it to build it, and it worked. Maybe I can show you a demo of that later on today.
Wow,
So that's one of my favorite ones.
awesome. That's huge, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not only generating the architecture diagram super quick, but say, imagine like you are maintaining an architecture, it could update them as you modify the code.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we are close to say like architecture diagrams as a code, probably.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Nice.
Excellent.
All right. So, okay. So enough theory. Like I said, we're going to be demo heavy. So enough chit chat and complaining about the coffee. Let's see this in action, Kishore. Set the scene for us and tell us what you're going to show us.
Excellent. So yeah, let me pull the demo environment here. All right. So we got a pet clinic application,
Hmm.
and I received a pager that one of the SLOs are breached, and I want to quickly troubleshoot what's happening. And of course, this is a demo environment, so I waited to showcase here. Uh, but but yeah, that's our demo today.
Hmm.
And So what we are going to look for is any the SLOs that got breached,
Hmm.
right? And in a layman terms, it is something like a promise to your users about how well your service works,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And think of it like promising your kids uh, that you're going to get to Disney World in like say 4 hours. And if you miss that commitment, the kids will definitely let you know, right? So if you are not meeting it, like they will make sure you know that.
No, yeah, and that thanks for explaining that. I think a lot of our customers that run modern operations are familiar with that concept, based on SLIs, right? And yeah, so it should be one of the most important things when you're doing true observability on an application. You should focus on, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just like the from the example I gave, like kids would remind you in this case, like we have when it comes to the real systems, like it's the alarms that are configured, which
Hmm.
will let us know that yeah, there is something wrong. So I have received something like that, and I am going to ask this question to Amazon Q, right? So I'm using Amazon Q with the MCP server
Hmm.
for CloudWatch and the application signals. So I'm
Hmm.
going to ask Amazon Q like, hey, I got a pager alert for so and so service
Hmm.
in US East 2,
Hmm.
and can you help me troubleshoot this, right?
Okay.
And let's see what it comes back with. So if you notice here, it is
Hmm.
looking into get alarm history from the MCP server. So there's a couple of concepts I want to make sure like everybody are on the same page,
Hmm.
because since I'm going to use those terms, like so every MCP server come with set of tools, right? So in this case, get alarm history from MCP server, right? So this is the tool, and this is the MCP server that it is communicating to. And by default, it's not trust always, right? So
Hmm.
for the initial few commands, I'm going to use not trust.
That's
If I say,
interesting because that's like as a security feature, right? Because you don't want this thing to go crazy and start doing things, right? You have it has to
exactly.
ask for your permission, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And in
Okay.
this case, anyways, we are querying it, so it's pretty
Right.
much safe to do it. But just to control the flow, like otherwise, it will go like just like humans, right? So it will go try to figure out multiple things and come back with something.
So
So
we can say that MCP servers are very polite because they ask nicely, right?
there you go.
All right. All right.
So in this case, like yeah, it says yeah, the alarm fired on August 25th. Like as I said, like yeah, this is a demo environment, so I didn't immediately react it and fixed it. So I waited for to showcase here. But the alarm fired on August 25th, and it found that event, and then I'm going to say like yeah, it's going to go back and check like yeah, let me check the current SLOs and get more details, making sure like what's happening in the
Right.
system at the current moment, right? And this is where I'm going to say trust always, because it is going to look at multiple SLIs. And
Right.
I don't want to keep on saying like I go one by one. So
Yeah.
when we say trust here and in the prompt, it gives the trust for that tool, right?
Right.
So if the list SLIs are trusted, but not necessarily the get service details. So I'm going to do, it's going
Yeah.
to me ask again. So I'm going to trust this one too.
I was gonna say that if you are brave, you can start Q chat with trust all.
Oh yeah,
And that but that is a little bit confusing sometimes because sometimes you want to know what it's doing, right? And the interaction. So yeah, makes sense.
exactly. And I think, I mean, to be fair, right? So a interaction that we are doing at the moment, it is mostly looking into the system. It is not going to go do anything on its own. So it's fair
Hmm.
to say trust all. But if I'm doing anything like a deploying or remediating some issue, I would be I want to control it without
Yeah,
trust.
and by the way, which is might be a good idea to mention that that's one of the things that makes MCP servers um, attractive and powerful is the fact that I could run an MCP server with a set of credentials for read only, right? And then that ensures that every operation that MCP server is going to do is always going to be read only, right?
Good
Um,
call out. Yeah, very good
so
call
that
out.
that could be one use case, yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So in this case, like yeah, this is like if you notice, like it was looking initially started with cloud formation, sorry, the CloudWatch MCP server, and then now it is looking for CloudWatch app signals for the such transaction spams.
Hmm.
So yeah, even the list SLIs are from application signals, but it know which tool to use for what operations, right? So it will automatically figure out. In this case, like I have it configured like certain set of MCPs. In between those MCPs, it will figure out like which tool I should be using.
Right.
And in case if it doesn't find anything,
Hmm.
there are inbuilt tools for the QCLI, which are quite powerful too, right? Like say, as an example, use underscore AWS that could do a great job with some of this as well with operations.
Yeah, and another thing to remember is that yes, on QCLI we have used AWS, but if we are deploying in something like Agent Core, or we're using, for example, the Anthropic desktop application, which supports MCP2, then you won't have use AWS, right? And you want to have an MCP server to establish that communication with AWS. So that's why this is important also.
Exactly. So yeah, now it got all the information that it requires from the uh, application signals. So it got the transaction spans, it has the enough information. It see like, yeah, I can see the root cause. All the traces show that customer service Java was making calls to insurance service Python via get operation. But let me check the insurance service metrics during this time, right? So it did verify, if we look at here, the insurance service latency is actually normal, around 180 milliseconds before the incident, then dropping to normal levels. So it is doing that historic comparison
Mhm.
before it identifies like what the issue is here. Yeah. So now it is looking into the CloudWatch MCP server for looking into the log group information. From my experience, Andreas, like I have seen once in a while it fails with some syntaxes. Uh,
Mm,
this probably to do with how mature the MCP servers are in a way, right? So the syntax is like, yeah, timestamp at times,
right.
but it is smart enough to figure out the work around it and fix it by itself and come back with what's needed.
Especially if you have, I've had some success with the AWS documentation MCP server, which the LLM can consult to see what is the latest syntax for a specific API, right? Or a specific,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one way of like if I have a documentation server, I don't even have to prompt it saying like, "Hey, you got to go check there."
Mm-hmm.
It figures out like, yeah, there is something syntax wrong that I'm not aware of. Let me go see if I can find it, and it see the documentation. If it finds the documentation there, it will self-learn from there.
Excellent. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Awesome. So here it came back with quite a bit of details. It says like, yeah, this is the alarm has fired, and the latency was exceeded 300 milliseconds threshold with data points of exactly the details, and the latency persisted from so and so time frame, nearly about an hour, and it is caused by socket timeouts when this microservice was when this service was making HTTP call to the other insurance service here, right?
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of identifies the dependencies between these two and
Mm-hmm.
comes back with like, yeah, what is the kind of evidences that it looked into before it
Mm-hmm.
comes to this conclusion, and what's the impact of it, right? So customers
Wow.
are facing operations like pet details became extremely slow. It was supposed to be less than 100 milliseconds, but it appears to be 800 to 1300 milliseconds. To come to a conclusion like this, it's not going to happen to me when right away, right? So if I have to do this
With that
scientific
accuracy, right?
analysis,
With that
yeah,
accuracy.
exactly. I gotta take some time, and I'm old enough to take more than a couple of days to come up with this much of details. And then it comes up with the recommendations, right? Like say,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
these are the things that you could do. And what I'm going to ask here is like, can you check or like dive deep further on recommended actions, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to give me I would expect it to give me details in terms of like, yeah, what does that mean? Circuit breaker implementation. Great. Sounds like a very electronical terminology. What does that mean? Right. So it comes up with saying like, yeah, sample code, like, yeah, this is how you do, but it's not here, it's not necessarily right, doing implementation, right? So it is going
It's
to
just giving you
generate.
like an idea of how
Yeah,
to. Okay.
exactly. It's giving me a sample code as well. So
Mm-hmm.
the FSWrite is another tool I was talking about earlier, about the QCLI tools itself. So this is
Yes.
basically used to write the file system in there, write a file to the file system. And then it is going to, let's see what comes next. So it is going through all the recommendations that it have made and come up with the recommendation saying like, yeah, this is how you are going to fix it, right? So in all these cases, it is writing to a file. So I'm going to go ahead and say trust, right? So I'm not actually executing any of this.
Right. This is definitely pretty cool, right? You can go from an issue to resolving it in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Um, maybe 20 minutes if you're doing a live show, but 5 minutes if it's in real life, right?
True, true. At least you get to a point where you know what the problem is, which itself is the biggest pain when you are troubleshooting some issue, right?
Right,
And
exactly.
once you know what it is, then it is about the implementation. In depending on how critical the application is, you may have to go drive it through your standard pipelines, which will do it stage dev prod
Makes sense.
rollouts and stuff like that. But this getting to this point itself is in my mind is mind blowing.
No, definitely, definitely. That's awesome. All right, that was quite impressive, Kishore, I have to say. But let's make it a little harder. I think you got a microservices incident for us to analyze, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's take a look at that.
All right. So we can actually, yeah. Well, we could go with, we let this run, and maybe like, yeah, once this completes, we can come back to this and see, ask more questions to this. Like from
Okay.
we'll ask to improve the cost as well. All right.
Okay.
So now I'm switching to a different environment where I
Uh-huh.
have this microservices applications that are running it. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So
Uh-huh.
here, so this is my my e-commerce portal where I have an interactions with multiple services,
Mhm.
multiple serverless components here,
Okay.
and just I'm going to assume I'm a newbie for the organization. I'm trying to understand the architecture here, right? How do I start about it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to ask QCLI with like a star. Sorry, I think I got. Okay, I'm going to say no for this. This is probably the wrong one here. Let me say like, hey, I have a serverless application. I know there is an application with multiple serverless communication that's happening, but I wanted to understand that workflow, right?
Mhm.
So I'm asking it like, can you pick a single transaction and show me the complete flow? Give me the visualization if possible. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
being too ambitious here. Let's see what happens. So yeah, it goes look at the app signals as expected, and I'm gonna say trust it now. Now that I have a confidence to say trust.
Mhm. Right.
All right, so it says like I can see your e-commerce application and it has multiple services. Let
So
me
you're basically asking it to describe the application to you, right? To help you
exactly.
understand it. Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and based on a transaction, right? So
Right.
look into one transaction that went through the complete stack and explain it to me how this whole thing works.
Awesome. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says, yeah, perfect. I found a complete order placement transaction. Let me get to a full trace details and
Mm,
also use transaction search for 100% visibility to show you. So in this case, I have application signals transaction search enabled. So
nice.
it is going to look into the transaction spans to get the information that is required.
Which, by the way, transaction search is, our latest and most powerful tracing feature set that allows you to do 100% of the spans. And having this information at your fingertips with an MCP server is incredibly powerful, as you can see.
Okay.
There we go. So it looks like it's diving deep into that. We should have bring some Jeopardy music to the show today.
All right. So yeah, see here it says let me create a visualization based on the X-ray trace data. I found that the transaction patterns for the spans. I will create a comprehensive transaction flow diagram. I'm excited to see what it looks like. But if you look at the history while it creating that visualization, it looked into multiple transactions, traversed through the flow, and understood like what a typical order flow would look like, right? And it is leveraging both CloudWatch and the app signals to CloudWatch logs, app signal transactions to come up with something like this. All right, so let me go ahead and say it is actually saving it into a file.
Oh, interesting.
Right? So here, yeah, I traced the successful order placement transaction that shows the complete flow through your serverless architecture. Let me see what it does. Client API gateway, it is going through order service, then inventory service, then DynamoDB, right? And the total duration is 204 milliseconds. We have created a successful order. It involves 4 components, and the database operations are this. And your application has an excellent service separation. You are running a 13 microservices, blah, blah, and right, I think, yeah, here, right? So it says like it is from the 100% sample trace data, I can see our application handles order processing, payment processing, inventory management, and notification, right? And then if I look back in here, what it created for me, it actually gave me a pictorial view of
Oh, that is so cool.
how the flow works, right? So for someone who is starting fresh in an organization, understanding these details is like golden.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
that is awesome. Yeah.
And the best part, like if I have it integrated with my documentation, like yeah, it gets updated as needed.
Got you. So that would probably even be a great addition to maybe the like you said, like documentation of the application itself, right? Like you can just say, hey, here's a excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, here I'm asking like, hey, so that's great. I understand the flow now. Show me if there are any latencies in each of these steps.
Okay, so we're taking it to the
I
next
wanted
step.
to understand the performance bottlenecks, if any, and whatnot. All right, so it is checking several metrics now, since it has to come up with the late performance related stuff. So if we see like service name, it is querying payment service, inventory service, e-commerce API.
So it's going through
order
all the
service.
different microservices, looking at the latency, and analyzing each step, right? That's pretty cool.
Exactly. So that's how it can put the complete picture of the latencies there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it already, exactly, has that information. Now we can leverage it to continue diving deep into the investigation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So here, what does it come up with? Oh, there are some major performance problems. See, on my day one, I figured out there are some performance problems. Yeah. I need a bonus now. Yeah.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
All right. So here it is giving me like, yeah, I have identified several latency bottlenecks in your transaction flow. Here are the key findings. Inventory service is a critical issue. It is supposed to be less than 500 milliseconds, but it is at 1398. And the best part, oh, I love this one. So it is giving me like, yeah, the latencies on each and every step in a pictorial way. It's not just calling out where the delays are, but it's putting me this visualization, which is great.
It's easy to understand, what's happening.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yep.
All right. So it says priority, scale DB capacity for inventory apps. So let me check. Like, yeah, what is that means? Can you show some implementation details for it? I know in the previous examples, it created a repository, So in this case, it created an infrastructure as a code. So in this case, I'm saying like, hey, I do not want to implement anything yet. Give me just the
Okay.
plan, right?
Okay.
So this is
Yeah.
the account where
Uh-huh.
I didn't restrict for read-only permissions. So there may be chances like it will try to go and deploy.
That's good. You have to be very specific, right? Because
Yeah.
you've seen behavior before. Yeah, you want to avoid it. Maybe doing what you don't want to, right?
Exactly. So here it is giving me these steps, right? So this is how I would do. I'm going to do that in so and so accounts first, right? Now, if I want, I can ask for like create a CloudFormation template, and it will generate it for me, right? So now it has these details. It will generate a CloudFormation template, but I'm not going to do it right now because, as you see, like it has to go through all of this, and which means it's going to take good amount of time. And I'm not sure if we have that much time today.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, however, now I have all this information. I want to know exactly like, it gave me a very good recommendations in terms
Yeah.
of like, hey, what are the timelines that you want to implement these changes on? On
Mm.
day one, these are the things that you wanted to do. Well, day one, day two, day three sounds ambitious to me, but this is a good start, right? Like from a priority, how do I prioritize this?
Right.
And let's say I'm working in an organization where or it's a product, right? So I need to go everything through the change request irrespective of when I'm going to implement it. And I'm asking it like, hey, why don't you go ahead and create a change request, collect all the required details and give me a short synopsis with all the required information to create the change request.
And where is this going to
Bear with my English here, some
No,
typos.
no, that's fine. I was going to ask you, where does it create the change request?
So it is not creating a change request. So I'm asking to create a report so that I can attach it to the change request.
Oh, got you.
But this could be the case where like, if there is a change request MCP configured, I would say like, I have the report now, then go ahead and create a change request with this report attached to it.
I see. It'd be interesting to see if some of the tools that are used for that may have MCP servers that could be connected, and potentially you could just say, go ahead and create it, and we'll create the change request and everything. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So here, like, it is impressive in a way, right? Like it says like, the total timelines, what is the cost, what is the ROI? Like, this typically the set of questions that you get asked when you open a change request. Why am I doing this? Like, what is the impact if I don't do it? Like, why should I do on so and so date, right? So it gives this very the details in terms of like what is needed to take a decision for the change request. And maybe I can actually enhance this further by saying, can you identify a right time to do it based on my workload? I don't want to do it on when it's when there is a heavy workload.
That is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, if I have my code pipeline set up in such a way, like it doesn't matter. Whenever I can do, then that's fine too.
But even in those situations, you may want to make sure, depending on the change, that you can minimize any potential impact, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah. So
when I say the code pipelines, like I'm talking about the blue-green deployments where
exactly
they have the 5% of the traffic tested and auto rollback if there is a failure.
Exactly.
And if you have a robust mechanisms like that, then the automation can go for a long way.
Right. This is super cool. And I can just think, if you had to do this whole investigation, that whole correlation, how long would that take manually, right?
Probably hours. Maybe someone like me, maybe more than hours. You'd have to check each service individually, correlate the timestamps, dig through the traces and with MCP. We went from somewhere like users are complaining or like so you got an alert to identifying what should be the fix.
Right.
It's like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's pretty amazing. And it's now I must say, like, if you have application signals, right, there is some benefits in seeing that visually, right? But sometimes if you want to just get that root root of the problem, or like you said, if you're learning how a system works, this is super powerful, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, if from the application signals, it's basically that this is deriving from application
from
signals,
it, exactly.
right?
If we don't
So
have
you are
applications,
only, any tool is only as good as the telemetry is, right?
exactly.
If you don't have enough details, then you're not good. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So yeah, here I switched to the previous one where like
Mhm.
it came up with the implementation plan for me, right? So the
Yes.
execution, like how you wanted it to do. Now I have the details on, like, yeah, if you recollect, circuit breaker, time reduction, and the basic retries, right? Like with exponential backup and whatnot. So it also come up with the plan. So now I'm going to ask this, saying like, hey, can you get me some look at my current configuration and suggest if there are any cost optimizations to my spend, right?
Mhm.
I want
Mm.
to save money here, right away.
Nice. So that means that is it using is there like a cost explorer
Exactly.
MCP server? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is using it's going to use multiple tools there within the
Mhm.
cost explorer, but it is going to look and to say like, yeah, initially it started with getting today date. I didn't know like there is a tool for that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then like, yeah, getting cost usage. That's it's smart. Like it's picking from for the entire month, right? So start date is 1st of August until today, and it is looking for all these services.
Wow. Pretty cool.
So these services, I would assume, like, yeah, these are only three here because these are the active ones on in my account.
Yeah, and it's also worth mentioning that in addition to the cost explorer, which focuses on your spend, right? There's also the pricing MCP server, which is super cool, right? And we've heard a lot of good feedback about the pricing MCP server. And then can you imagine the capabilities of getting like maybe even a close enough idea of how certain scenario would or how much it would cost, right? That's super cool. That's something I want to
Exactly.
play around more with because we always get asked by customers, "Hey, any idea how much this is going to cost or what would be the financial impact?" So I think that's another super cool tool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I need to get my hands dirty with that. I'm totally onboarded now. So here, like, yeah, it gave me like optimizations. Like, yeah, you want to
Wow.
optimize your cloud trail. This is how much you save. Right sizing of open search. I'm I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting too much money, I guess then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. You're frugal.
Awesome.
That's good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So before we move on to another one, Kishore, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about multiple accounts.
Yes, exactly. So let me. Basically, uh, I have conducted a workshop recently
Hmm.
as a part of the partner equip event that I've been in. And one common question, like this workshop is focused on the MCP and specifically around cloud operations. And one common question I get asked is like, hey, now we are running these commands in one account or
Hmm.
one region. How do I go about using it in a multiple accounts and multiple regions and stuff like
Hmm.
that, right?
Hmm.
So, well, I mean, just like how you manage your IAM, there are multiple ways that you could control
Hmm.
with MCP as well. But I'm not going to get into too many details, but give you enough information here that gives you an idea, right?
Hmm.
So with that, let me start with what I have, how I configured the MCP thing, right?
Hmm.
So if you look at it here within the environment, I could specify the profile region. So in this case, I haven't given a profile, so it goes to the default one.
Hmm.
But I could pretty much call out a profile that I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about, right?
Right.
And then also the region, right?
Right.
And this is where like, yeah, now if and then the other part is if I have say something like say AWS config. So I have these things, right? So I have multiple accounts. So I could ask you to do operations in my other profile. Say just like within part of the prompt, I say a list S3 buckets. I'm going to pick the easy one for now this time.
Mhm.
Pick S3, list S3 accounts, S3 buckets in my profile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And it uses that
So,
specific profile.
yeah, exactly. It uses the profile, and if you see, it is going to do the profile name, passes that as a parameter.
Nice.
Right? And this is the errors I was talking about before, right? So use AWS is there, right? If there is no MCP server to do the S3 operations, since I didn't configure it, it is going to use AWS tool, come up with the APIs that it need to use. At times it might go wrong because it gonna try different options, but it figures out if this fails, this is the reason, and it comes back with all this information for me.
And this is important because remember, we're using QCLI. QCLI will use our default, AWS credentials. But when you think about other platforms that can leverage MCP servers, like I said, Agent Core, agents, and maybe even other tools like Anthropic's Claude's Desktop, the fact that you can have multiple profiles configured there makes it so much powerful, right? I remember that with QCLI specifically, when I started playing with it, I was like, how do I specify that I wanted to go to this profile? And I was just, going crazy until I think I read somewhere, just tell it to do it.
True.
It's so
Awesome.
simple as that,
Yeah,
Ask and you
exactly.
should receive, right?
Exactly.
Cool. All right.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. So, Anders, I know like you teased me with the MCP server, cool stuff that you did with the diagrams, looking into
Yeah.
uh, CloudWatch investigations and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to see that.
Yeah, let's see. I have well, now is the time we give Kishore a break, right? And I'll help him out with some of the demos here. So let me go ahead and pull up my uh oop, let me remove. Oops, no, I didn't want to remove you, Kishore. I want to remove that screen. All right. So this is my screen, right? And so I'm just going to let me talk first about okay, here we go. So let's talk first about the support one, which is the one that I already have there, and then I'll explain a little bit about the diagram one. So one of the MCP servers that you're going to find if you go to that link that we share with you is the one for AWS support. And I think this is super interesting because it ties so well to what you were doing, Kishore. Like sometimes we're investigating an issue, we're trying to figure out what it is, and we see an anomaly and we say, I think I need some help with that. You can come in here and use the MCP server for for AWS support. And here's a list of the servers that I have here. And I have the support MCP server loaded here. In this case, it's interesting. I have a second tab here that I'm running the MCP server locally. So you have an option when you install the MCP service to go dynamically load it from the repo. But in this case, I downloaded it and I'm running it locally on my computer. And as you can see, it's functioning. So I can ask things like, can you show me the resolved AWS support cases from 1 week ago? So this will show me, it will go use the MCP server. It'll go and show me, as you can see, it's going to use that MCP server. And it's going to tell me, hey, you have a case right here, one resolve support case, and this is the ID, the subject, and of course I put test case in NOR because otherwise our friends in AWS support will hate me. This is a good way we can test some of these functionality with AWS support. And here are the details of the case. Yeah, pretty cool. You can see the whole details. Like, sometimes there's a lot of interesting information there. But the thing is, I can also say, create a new support case on the customer service queue and make the title test case. Please ignore, and then I'm going to say watch the AWS Cloud Operations show on YouTube. All right, let's see how confused. Let's see how confused this thing is, right? So here we go. It's not going to get confused. It's going to go ahead and create it. Here's the overview of what's going to do. It's going to create a test case with the subject. It's going to, the service code is the customer service. And the body, it even puts the body for me. This is a test support case created for demonstration purposes. Please ignore and close at your convenience. Everything that I need, right?
So yeah, we just got new set of subscribers for this. Sure.
So awesome. Of course, it's worth saying that you have to have the account that I'm using here has AWS support enabled, and that's a requirement to use that MCP server, right? But there's my case. I have my case ID. It has been submitted. I'll probably get an email here in a minute, right, with my case. But our guys in support will close it. So I just wanted to demonstrate a little bit how powerful the AWS support MCP server is. If you want to see a full list of things that it can do, you can go to the documentation. But of course, the basic ones as show me my open cases, create a case, or close a case are definitely included.
Yeah, and Andres, like if I can stitch it back to the multi-account stuff that I was talking earlier.
Yeah.
Like if you have support in one account, all you would need is like a configuring that profile for that support thing in your MCP server, and when you open a support ticket, it automatically know where to interact from. Right.
Exactly.
So necessarily be on this account.
Yeah. Exactly. That's super important. Yes. All right, so another MCP server that I've been playing with, and I mentioned it to you, is the Diagram MCP server, right? So I shared with Kishore the story, and I shared it with you guys at the beginning that I needed to create a diagram for the CloudWatch investigation service. I'm going to show you exactly what I did, and hopefully it'll work out the same way. So I said, look at the AWS documentation on Amazon CloudWatch investigations. Use that information to create a diagram on how CloudWatch investigation works. So I'm telling it, go use the MCP server for documentation, take the information that you need, and then go create a diagram for me. Let's see how that works. So you'll see here in a moment, it's going to go with the documentation server. It's going to search the documentation. And the reason why this is super important is because we're updating our documentation all the time, like you said, right? So we can always go back to the documentation and refresh anything, right? Oops, I think, let's see what happened. I think we're having some technical difficulties. I don't see my preview. Do you see it, Kishore?
I do see it is still thinking though. It in fact reached out to the documentation MCP server with such documents with a string of CloudWatch investigations. All right, so looks like there is a real technical problem here. All right, so we're going to give a few minutes for Andres to join, I assume. All right, so while we wait for Andres to join, like this is this kind of helps not only in identifying the problems. We looked in how we could create support tickets. We could create the context that is required to create a change request or a support ticket as needed. and that is without too much of effort, right? And then it is like there are the other MCP servers. There's a recent one that's launched was Cloud Control API. That is something I wanted to play as soon as I get time with. But Cloud Control APIs basically gives you a easy way to execute or do actions within AWS environments. And now having an MCP server enables me to do lot of API related actions or a lot of service actions by using a natural language processing, right? All right. So let me also check in the meanwhile what's happening with Andres here. All right, so it looks like there is some real technical problem there with Andres' connectivity. So yeah, what else? Like, so we just to summarize what we have seen so far. I think yeah, we kind of pretty much covered all the things that we wanted to talk about, and okay. Yeah, so like yeah, this I still see Andres not online here. Okay. Yeah, so while we wait for Andres to join, like a few other things I would share as I continuously use QCLI for my day-to-day activities, especially like yeah, something like when we do the code generation and stuff like that, for testing it in an environment where it is where it is safe to try it out. It But if at all if there are any failures, right? So it generates a CloudFormation template as an example to create a resource, and there might be some conflicts within the system, and a failure could happen even though the template is perfectly okay. But when it deploys, there could be some issues with the resource namings and whatnot, or conflicts with the resources. And if there is a failure that happens, the QCLI can intelligently go back, look into what's happening, and come out with the suggestions and deploy, make the corrections and try to redeploy it. Right. So which makes me think like, yeah, this is what exactly I would do if I am doing it on if I'm troubleshooting an issue. These are the steps I would exactly do, but that's now the agent can take care of it. The QCLI in this case could take care of it to figure out what needs to be done next, and redeploys, and it retries until a certain point, until it figures out, or it reaches a point where like yeah, it tried exhausted with all the mechanisms that is aware of, and tell us even that's also one possibility that happens.
All right, sorry about that. We just had a internet outage.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was online while you
No,
were out.
we were live, and you were still live. Hopefully,
Okay. I I tried to share some of my experiences while
Good. Well, I
we're away.
appreciate that.
But we'll see.
All right. Okay. So, since let me reshare here. We
Yeah,
have
maybe
about 5 minutes.
we need to troubleshoot your network connectivity now with this MCP. Yeah.
Exactly. This is going to be one for uh, for the history of the show. All right, but let's see if we have some questions here. I think we addressed some of these. I'm going to let you talk about this one here. And Unit asks, in case of AWS Cost Explorer MCP servers, can we link it to multiple AWS accounts, say to get costs we need to link to a master account?
Yeah. So if it is from a cost perspective, master account has all the information
All right.
related to the entire organization. So I would start with the master account, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, if you want anything specific on the individual accounts, then I would go and configure multiple profiles to make those interactions there.
There you go. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense, right? But sometimes individual teams have access to their individual Cost Explorer account, and there's another option. So it depends how you have your Cost Explorer and your
Exactly. And by the way, for the record, it's management account, not master account.
That's true. Very good. All right. So in thinking about my demo here, we're not going to have enough time to show it, but the good news is I think I have a picture of the resulting. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. And generated diagrams. I'm going to share it real quick. So this is what it produced, and this was produced by the MCP server. Let me see if I can share that here. All right. So this is the actual diagram that the MCP server created for CloudWatch investigations. It shows the entry points or the investigation triggers, which could be an alarm, which could be queue chat, the console, and then it shows the complete flow. We have another show that we did on CloudWatch investigations. You can go check it out. But incredibly amazing how it uses the AWS icons, gives the entire flow and everything.
The flow is killer here, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Easy to understand when you see a picture than reading a lengthy document.
Exactly. Here's the full picture. And of course, as you're working with this, if you see something that needs to be tweaked, that needs to be changed, you can always tell the MCP server and it will go and do it, right? All right. So we have reached the end of our cloud operations show. I don't my mind is blown with all these good things that we share. My mind is blown because my internet went out and on a live show, which is not something good. Good thing is we had Kishore, talking a little bit while I recovered my internet. But I think that one of the things that I really like about what we demonstrated today is you don't need to be an AI expert to leverage all these capabilities, right? The MCP servers do all the heavy lifting, connecting to your favorite, you can connect it to your favorite AI assistant, and you can just speak to your AWS services, right? We showed today some of the key ones, like the CloudWatch one, the functionality with application signals, the Cost Explorer, super powerful, right? So I encourage you to take a look at them, give it a try, and continue learning. So before we wrap up, I want to thank Kishore for sharing his experience with us today, your insights on how MCP is revolutionizing operations. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Andres. It's been a pleasure joining you today. And when I think back to those midnight pager alerts from my system admin days, I can't help but I wish we had the technology back then. So
Yeah.
Just imagine those, how many sleepless nights we could have saved. Right. And for those of you who joined watching this, thank you very much for taking this time. One thing I would like to leave out with is, like, yeah, go please check it out. Check out the AWS Labs GitHub repository. As I mentioned earlier, there are 55 plus MCP servers there, and they're growing rapidly.
Yep. Excellent. Well, thanks everybody for joining today. We'll have another brand new show for you in a couple of weeks, where we continue learning about cloud operations, about how to simplify your life and leverage all these awesome services that we provide at AWS. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.